G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph here, and today I have for you the Brightin Star 9mm f5.6. Now first of all, why would you buy this lens? You would buy this lens for, I reckon, 3 reasons. The first is architectural photography. You can get some incredible angles and super wide breadth of what you're shooting with this lens. It's 9mm, it's insane. Now it is a manual focus, so keep that in mind as you go through, and also a manual aperture from on top. Second, if you want some really wide landscape shots, not astro, because its f-stop is at 5.6, you need much wider than that for astro, but 5.6 and you really want wide, or you want to go in close to something with the wide expanse in the background, then this lens might be for you. And the third reason would be if you want to make the most of the 20 centimeters minimum focusing distance, which is really one of the strengths of this lens, that enables you to zoom in here and then have everything else as a context super wide. So you already know if this lens is sort of scratching the itch that you might have and whether you should go on. If not, like and subscribe, and we'll see you later, but otherwise stick around because there's a fair bit more to go. Now it's a metal lens, so it's heavy. I enjoy the weight of it because it adds stability when you're holding it, so you can shoot on much longer exposures and hold it much more steady than you would if it's a lighter lens. I just find that helpful. There's no switches external, it is manual focus, and this is the manual ring right here that you would use, and it has some indicators down here between 0.2 all the way through to infinity and manual, and it indicates the feet that you might want to stand at from your subject to choose which focusing space. Give or take, like it's a good guide. It's not, I haven't found it like exceptional, but it's helpful. And then we have our aperture ring, which goes from 22, 18, 11, 8. It's got a dot and then 5.6. The dot must be something around 7. And one of the challenges with this is when you turn it on your Z-mount camera, this is a Z-mount lens, when you put it on your mirrorless Z, you will have a dash where it should say your aperture. So you never quite know what aperture you're on, which draws you into the feel of the photography, especially if you put it on auto ISO so you can just enjoy what you're shooting. Manual focus is good. I used focus peaking. It was kind of difficult to nail the focus. And as you'll see in just a bit, it's not the sharpest lens in the world, but it's also not the most expensive lens in the world. If we take the metal lens cap off, oh, it's metal, you could just use this as a protection device, or a hockey puck. As you can see, I don't play hockey. And you can't put a filter on this because of the dome. You see the dome lens. That is called a concave? Convex. I'm going to go with convex. Those of you smarter than me, comment down below. Did I get it right or wrong? Convex, because it's a cave curls in and a vex is out. Sorry. So you can't put a filter on it, but they've solved the solution of the filter not being able to go on here by creating these smaller ones that screw in here. So we have an ND64 6 stops, we have an ND1000 10 stops, and we have a night filter, or a natural light filter. And these little filters, they have an internal thread, and you simply lay them on the lens like so, and then just gently screw them in. You can get your fingers around it. Goes in quite well. You just go all the way till it's tight. You don't want it super tight, but just firm. Then this attaches to your camera and has the inlay of the filter. So instead of the filter sitting here, it sits here. So I'm going to show you in my photos in just a moment what you can actually get out of these filters. They are a little bit tricky, and they come with these little bags, but it would be good if there was some little mini kind of a plastic case you could just slot them into and carry the plastic case around, because it's quite easy to lose them. And when they're in, it's quite difficult to read the data on the side of the filter. But it's 34mm, in case you're wondering. I also think another trick to this is the 16mm from Brightin Star. Why wouldn't you make all your lenses with an internal thread so these filters could fit on all the lenses? That would be really cool. Even though with this one, yeah, see, you can put if you've got an internal filter, it'll screw into that, but generally speaking would be much better if you just adopted a thorough internal filter that goes between the lens and the body rather than on top of the lens. And also, if you're shooting directly into sunlight, you can get some interesting lens flare or speckles on your photograph, because if anything gets on here, even just like a little bit of water or dust or whatever, the light fragments it. So one of the challenges with this lens is a little bit of lens flare. So you need to keep that in mind. Good way to avoid lens flare is shoot with one hand and then work out where the sun is, but you're out of shot. Now with this lens, you're kind of looking to be out of shot here, right? It's so wide, it'll shoot up here. But amazing for shots like this. I love this shot. And on a 9mm, it just comes out just spectacular. I've taken this shot a number of times, but maybe I'm most happy with this one because it's 9mm. Let me just pull this off so you can have a look inside. There's a couple of diodes here that enable the lens to talk with the camera, but obviously they don't do a great deal because it's not actually autofocused. There's a red dot here, lines up with your white dot. You just put that in and it screws in. I think it's a good looking lens. Some people are like, oh, the orange might clash with the red or whatever. I like it. I like it. They're a neat little function, these little Brightin Star lenses. They're all a little bit like short and stocky and small, but do a variety of tasks that you need them to do for a really effective price. And so I'm going to put some links at the end of this to some other videos that I've done on these in case that's helpful. Now the big question is, what sort of quality can it produce? Like, how good are the photos? And so let's go look at some photos. Let me start with something that with another lens is not actually possible. So we used the 10-stop filter on the internal filter ring on this lens, put it on and shot this wide. This is Currumbin rock and then another little outlying rock. I'm about 10 meters back before I fall in the water. This is some water here. And this just shows you what it can do as at 240 seconds as those clouds move overhead. Now it is edited up, but I think it gives this beautiful wide perspective that wide lenses allow themselves to do. So you actually want large items in the foreground for a wide lens really to impact. If I'm too far away from this rock, it looks tiny and you lose the impact, but you also have this wide spread on the 10-stop. Then we went out for a acai one morning. This is where we hang out to have a acai. I'm 2 meters away from this bench and I'm shooting this wide. You can't actually shoot this wide on a normal lens. It's insane. So it gives you the perspective, and you know, it's an architectural lens, so it gives you the ability to take shots that you wouldn't normally be able to take. For example, this pull shot or this pull shot. Otherwise, you would just have it really limited in here, but I can stand at the fence. It can shoot really wide, and look at the focus. So this is, it's not the sharpest lens in the world, but everything is not too bad. If I go back to this and I zoom on this plant, and that plant again, not the sharpest in the world, but holds at an aperture of 22 everything else in focus. So it will do the job for you if you're looking for something for real estate or for architectural photography that it doesn't need to break the bank. I did shoot on the highest aperture, got this sunburst, so that's 10 points, looks really good. I think this is not an edited photo, so if I edited this and warmed it up a little, it would look pretty spectacular. Boom. That's not really edited up properly, but it gives you a bit of a inkling of what it is. Now let's just have a look at the sides, and there's not a lot of stretch. Now, obviously, everything kind of bends in on the center of the photo, but sometimes you have like a really long wheel here, for example, but that still kept a lot of its shape. So it's good to know that it doesn't distort or warp things too drastically in the corners. This just shows you the breadth of the lens, like how wide it can be, and you can see it pushes everything on an angle. This shot is not possible if you don't use a 9mm lens, and that I've focused in on this, and so this is that's not too bad, right? That's pretty good, and again gives you that perspective that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Just like this shot or this shot, like this is the banger that you use when you're using an architectural lens to really capture the most information and the coolest perspective that draws you into the building that you want to highlight. This is massive crane, and look, no problems at all with a bit of a leading line here, the sign featured here, and the crane can feature right in there. It's just creative and it's fun and it's interesting, and there's not a great deal of vignetting. Like, I don't know if you've noticed on these shots so far, but just have a look on the edges. The vignetting isn't actually that terrible, which it can be on some lenses, but on this particular lens, I'm actually quite pleased. Now, this is when you shoot on a much wider aperture that gives you, this puts this in focus and then blows that out of focus, and this is completely out of focus. But if we just focus in here, so you can see, gives you sort of a feel for how much clarity you get in the part of the shot that is in focus. Again, another example of that. So the M is really quite sharp and it fades away just in the space of the length of a car. So went to this pine forest and I just love this shot. I've taken this shot a number of times over the years. This is the widest I've ever taken it by putting a self timer on, putting the camera with the 9mm on the lowest possible height of a tripod and shooting upwards. And it looks great. I'm really happy with it. There's no edit on it yet, but with an edit, it'll pull these shadows into some light. It'll calm some of these down and really bring an even effect. If I just look here, see it stretches a little bit at the side. So you need to recognize that it does stretch at the side. All wide lenses do, but this isn't a fisheye, which I'm quite happy about. But it's not the sharpest lens in the world, is it? So it's still a little bit soft. Now I tried with the filters. So what we did is I went down to a local busy corner and I took this shot. This is 1/400th in the middle of the day, ISO at 140. Aperture was on 11. And so we shot this. This is just a normal shot and that should be in focus. Good, it all looks good. Now what I wanted to do, and I'm going to flick now to the ND64, the 8-stopper, and I want you to see if the colors change. Ready? So look at the colors. Do the colors change? Do the colors change? Just go back and forward. The blue in the middle looks the same. The green and the grass looks the same. So those colors are true. And you can put this on. This is great for water. If you're using waterfalls or down the beach, you want to get a bit of effect, you can use this and it slows this down quite dramatically. So we've gone from 1/400th all the way down to 1/5. And it blurs these cars out, right? So that's really effective and cool and fun, and you just screw it onto the internal. It's a little bit fiddly, and it means you have to take the lens off of the camera, which exposes the sensor. So just keep that in mind. But here is the 10-stopper. Watch what you can do with the 10-stopper. You can completely clear the traffic. So there were people walking around here. Somebody walked straight in front of my camera. Car went zooming across there. Actually, not very fast. But at 4-second exposure, this actually does really well. It does, like it loses its sharpness, doesn't it? It's not quite as sharp as this one or as my first one. So be careful that it does make it a bit softer the more filters you use. But these filters are really handy. And if you know you're taking a particular kind of a shot, you can plug in and screw in the filter and away you go. Just be careful you don't expose your sensor to the elements too much. And you should really be able to enjoy this lens, especially at the price point it's at. Well, there you go, crew. What do you reckon? Is it for you? What would you use it for? Please let me know down below. I'd be fascinated to hear that you're like, oh, that lens will suit this need to a T. It sort of feels more like a niche lens because it's not a huge price. You can buy it, have it in your bag, and use it for those unique moments when you're like, I just need to deliver on this. Obviously, it's wider than you'll get with your phone. And so if you're looking to shoot anything from architectural or indoors or anything where you need a vast expanse caught in the photo, but you're actually in a really small confined area, this might be the one. I hope this review has been helpful. Thanks, Brightin Star, for sending it to me. Please like and subscribe, guys. There's some videos to follow, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.